Big fella? What do you got?
Well, so I had one topic put up, and then I switched it around, and then I did this and did that, and just really didn't fit my mood. And anyway, loud music makes me drive really fast.
You know, there's been studies done when you listen to loud music while you work out or run, you exert more effort.
I didn't have a very pleasurable experience leaving an event that I took part in, and I was a little angry. Just situational anger. Nothing. Whatever. And I've been really stuck on 90s rock music, and I wanted to delve into that. That was another thing. Like, we're talking about some of those guys in that grunge era were potentially, in my opinion, some of the most talented singers in that genre.
You know, I don't know if it fits what you're like. Is Nirvana in that vein?
Yeah.
So, which was a question on trivia night we talked about on Wednesday's episode. Go listen. But I don't know where I saw this, but they said that like Kurt Cobain wanted people to like believe this like self-image of him, like that he kind of created, like when you think of Kurt Cobain, like what he had cultivated. But they said like his ability to write music and like do that, guy was a freaking genius. Like, I don't know where I picked that up on, but like he wanted people to think that he was this kind of grungy, like rocker thing. But
you ever heard
genius.
you ever heard of the band Silverchair?
Can't say that I have.
So there's a band called Silverchair that was very prominent in that era. It's just a 90s grunge rock and roll song. They sing a song called Tomorrow. And I was that song came on, and I was getting on the interstate off of the Lloyd, and I just took the old white rocket or the white lightning out there and just put it on the mat. Just bobbing and weaving out of traffic and everything, and I found not intentionally, just like was listening to loud music. I was trying to get home. I had to go get Evelyn, do this, that, blah, blah, blah. And by the time I looked down, I'm running like 90 miles an hour. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? I better throttle her down a little bit before I get wound up in the pokey. But I find that loud music just makes me drive fast. And the genre of the music really differentiates my speed as well. Like if I'm listening to rap, like some real thuggish, ruggish rap, that's usually more of like a cruising speed. I don't listen to country music a lot in my car. Like I don't know. I'm kind of, break down the fourth wall here. Don't really care for it much anymore. But yeah, like that 90s genre, that grungy rock, like that's I can really sing it. I think a lot of those songs match my range a lot, you know what I mean? So like I can kind of really lock in onto that. And then I listen to a lot of the Lithium station.
Yeah.
When I worked at the mine on satellite, Sirius XM satellite radio, channel 34 Lithium. So it goes anywhere from Pearl Jam to Stone Temple Pilots to that kind of stuff, whatever. But I don't know. It just makes me drive fast. Is there any music that makes you drive fast?
Lots of music makes you drive fast.
Good old Hank Williams song. There's a tear.
But I couldn't think it.
in my
I mean,
beer.
I wouldn't think that would make you drive fast, would it?
What, loud music?
No. Like, yeah, loud music, but like what type of loud music?
Depends on my mood.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, it's got to be in tune with the mood, but I've been like, dang, like just having a bad day, and sometimes it just feels good to let all the ponies run in the truck and,
Yeah.
take turns too fast and go, oh, that was a little sketchy one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But what music are you listening to?
Depends on the mood.
Well, for that mood, what are you listening to?
Like a kind of a down, kind of a crummy day mood, probably probably somewhere in there in like some 90s country or some 70s rock, somewhere in there, bluesy type of sound and stuff. Going into work in the morning, I find myself listening to more rap type music or
little pump up.
pump up type stuff. When I get out of work, I like some real sad drinking songs because by the time the day's over, I'm thinking about a fair amount of beers. And let's just be honest, any song's a drinking song as long as you got a fair amount of beers. You know, just all the music.
All around the map there.
Yeah, very much. Sounds like he's very much.
Do you
on
drive
it.
fast? You don't drive fast. You drive like an 80-year-old woman.
No, guy. Listen, I drive the speed limit 5 over. That's where I'm 5 to 7 over is where I'm at. You know, when I'm in the car or like driving to work, I predominantly listen to podcasts. Like I don't like the most music I listen to is probably when I'm over here at Smokes. But I have gotten in the habit in the morning when I'm getting ready, I'll put on I think it's Zach Top radio on Pandora, just because I average out that each song's about 2.5, 3 minutes. So like I try to time, hey, shower, like
you got a speaker in your shower?
No, I just
yeah, like a little suction cup one, you know.
Yeah, but you're known for like 2-minute showers, so
it depends on sometimes the playlist is stretching out. I got into getting ready for trivia the other night. I took a midday shower, you know, since we was going to do all that. And a little stretch of Gary Allen came on, and it was just, the humidity was right. My voice was, I don't know, I imagine the neighbors heard me, but I was
Can you imagine Dave standing there in the shower? He's done, cleaned everything, just drinking beer, listening to songs.
Do you drink beer in the shower?
Oh, man, I love shower beers.
I love shower beers too.
Never had a shower
I have a
beer.
cup holder for shower beers. What?
You've never had a beer in the shower?
Oh man!
But I'm normally not.
In the
Like
shower
I'm
that
a
long?
morning shower for sure. Like every day before work, so I'm not going to drink a beer then. If not, I'm normally hopping in the shower right before bed, you know, and I'm just beyond the beers at that point in time.
I will say, back in my previous life as a knuckle dragging, briefcase carrying defense attorney, that Thursday afternoon trip home or Friday early afternoon trip home from Spencer County, I would, on a nice sunny day when I'm in my fields, put the windows down, just because I had Sirius in the old Legal Beagle because I was in it all the time driving all over God's green earth. I'd find, you know, if the blues channel was hitting, I'd go there.
And just roll my window down and crank OAR as loud as it would go.
That's not unfair. I mean, that's not wrong, but
That's
I mean, I
Crazy
enjoy
Game
that.
of Poker has never not got me fired up.
Yeah. A live version, the Madison Square Garden.
Crazy Game of Poker, that'll get you fired
That's
up.
a good song. But yeah, I mean, that's where it's at. But nowadays, like, so in tune with in the podcast world, like, it just kind of, and sometimes, like, you guys are not going to be surprised by this, but if I've got a lot on my mind, sometimes I just drive in silence. And that's shocker. I know it's not going to surprise you at all.
I sometimes back in the day when I was running heavy equipment, there'd be times where I would go hours with no radio or nothing on, just a man and his
Listening
thoughts.
to the tracks.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Yeah, you just zone out and
Well, you
get
know,
to
like how
thinking on
people
something.
do, like a lot of people write down their thoughts or what they're working through or this, that, and another. I don't do that. Like, for me, it all goes on in my brain. So if I can sit there in the truck and just hear the tires just kind of humming as I cruise along, it just helps me kind of sort through that stuff.
Well, let's shift here for just a second while we wrap this topic up before we go. And I know this is probably an opinion based question, but let me ask you a question, both of you. I mentioned before, like I say that, you know, my opinion, of course, I think that for the genre of music and the era that it was in, the era that it was out, the biggest accumulation or culmination of congregation of extremely talented singers, like vocal performers, whether it not just, I'm talking like the complexity of the songs, their ability to shift, key changes and, tempo changes and all these things. Like I'm really nerding out on the singing part, not necessarily instrumentals or anything like that, but what genre and era do you think has the most talented singers as far as like in a group? Like like I said a while ago, I know it's a bold statement, but it may not be number one, but like I'd say top three for sure is got to be that 90s rock, like that grunge era. Lane Staley, Chris Cornell, Eddie Vedder. I mean, even though he sounds like he's got a mouthful of shit, but I like just his vocals.
I don't know. Like, if we're talking about vocals, I got to think if I'd want to listen to them if they were just singing a cappella, and I don't know that I would for a lot of those folks,
Right.
Because they got to have something in the background to weigh them down. But I think feel like 90s country had a lot of folks that could really carry a tune well. You get into the 60s and 70s rock thing in there.
Yeah, that's
pretty good. Then
that's
you
where I
go
was-
back in the 50s and 60s, and some of those guys like
Nat King Cole and Bing
yeah,
Crosby and those guys.
Bean
Yeah, those
Snuck,
fuckers
all
could
those
sing.
guys,
Yeah.
they could really carry a tune pretty
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. You weigh in on the topic?
I would have to probably be in that. Because I was thinking in that like 60s and 70s era, like Dave was talking about, and so but then I was thinking like in that era, do you know Jimi Hendrix as a vocalist or do you know him as a guitar player? You know what I mean? I think that's where you got to go
Tough spot.
back a little bit further to where Dave was talking about some of those guys in the 50s and early 60s where, and I think you have to really look at an era where you didn't have the technology to make them sound good.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people nowadays that, if you've ever heard, you can go on YouTube, you can find it like Britney Spears, like the in-ear sound and listen to her. Maybe Britney's not I think it is her, but some of them, like it sounds terrible. And you're like, oh gosh. But then you can kind of hear the concert sound that's coming out in the back and you're like, they've fine-tuned that to a T. So you get, some of those classic, I'm thinking some of those old crooners, like, like Al Green, Otis Redding, some of those guys that had that deep kind of baritone smooth voice where they could sing them love-making songs like that. Those guys.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
So
Good talk. Like
Yeah.
it.
just be careful if you're listening to loud music because you're going to drive fast.
Yeah. No shit.
And you don't want to get in trouble with old Johnny Law.
Get your speeding ticket.